key.
Kelly!
Still happening.
What is?
Tell us, what does she want?
I heard voices in the hallway. Is there something wrong with Daddy, Mom?
Insidious 2, released on Friday the 13th. Beware the cuckoo!
I was sure that Insidious 2 was sinister. Was I wrong
It
about
is.
that?
It is.
Don't worry.
Same thing.
Kinda. I mean, it looks like it's the same guy.
Yeah.
But we got a different guy this round.
Yeah.
Like that guy, Darth Maul, he's retired.
Yeah.
He's got other things to do. So now it's that same chick in a white dress you see in all the other ghost story movies.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering what happened to her.
No, this is sinister with more letters in it.
Just don't tell Carlo that.
Yeah. Oh,
Please.
and not only is this Insidious, but this is Insidious 2. Chapter 2.
If one wasn't good enough for you, now they got two.
The story continues.
Now I gotta say, this is a review I've been waiting on.
Why is that?
Because with Insidious 1, Cyrus loved it.
I wouldn't go so far as say loved it, but I really liked
Corey,
it.
you hated it.
Man, you know what?
And I was feeling bad. I didn't see it. I was like, man, maybe I'll go see this. And you were like, man, fuck that movie. I was like, well, then perhaps I shall not.
And guess what?
Yeah.
We were like, fuck Corey.
Yeah.
Not only did Cyrus kind of like it, but I really loved it.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one. I mean, he really liked
you
it.
two, like these two first were the ones at each other's throats for like a month on the site. It was back and forth like, man, Insidious is so good. Fuck you crazy co-host. And I was like, God, I got to see this shit, dude. I think. And Corey's like, so what do you think? It was shit, right? It was like, I loved it.
I know. Felt like I was in a horror movie, because I feel like I'm losing my mind. I mean, I wish we were all in the theater together. Because if we were there, if you would have had those night vision goggles and been looking at us, those two would have been going crazy. And I just would have been in the middle, just man. Yeah, that's the way I felt. I was that guy when people go into the scary house. Everybody like, hey man, ain't that scary? And I'm like, man, it wasn't even scary, man. Oh, that shit ain't real.
Did you see the ghost of Trayvon over there? That was the scariest thing I've seen all day.
Yeah, I would be the scariest thing for some people, man. I don't get it. I really don't get it. This movie is just not my thing. I don't understand how this is scaring people. And you know what? I will say this though. I wanted to go see this because I wanted to see if I could walk in and be that guy that didn't like the original, but maybe I'd have a different opinion about this. And if I did, I was genuine. I don't remember a whole lot about the first movie, to be honest. But
That's
I know
probably why you didn't like it.
Well, yeah,
He was texting all the way through.
I actually didn't see it. I slept through it. But I had a really bad dream, and fuck that dream and fuck that movie.
He was on the phone till halfway through till Alex Billingsley called the cops on him. But
I guess it's my fault. I mean, I put up my headphones on halfway through. Just kind of got bored. Listen to some music while this movie's playing. No.
Sudoku.
I do remember that I came into the last movie kind of late. And just a little bit.
Yeah, you came in.
You got there for the
late,
credits?
what I hear.
I tell you what, maybe it was crucial because whatever I missed, whatever that 10, 15 minutes was, it must have been something that set that movie up for everybody to like. Because when I came in, I was just like, this is stupid.
And you know what's funny? You're absolutely right.
Am I?
The first shot of that movie kind of gives you a glimpse of kind of what really is going on with this guy and his family. Yeah.
Well, that's what's happening here. I admit, and I'm kind of lost here, but I do know the premise enough to see what's going on. You had the Lambert family return. Did you ever see the last movie?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I wish you had.
No, you shied me away from it.
Hey, you don't ever listen to me anyway.
I listen to you all the time.
Well, Leon,
And then completely discount what you say.
well, in the first movie, there was his family, the Lambert family, and there was some entity that was after their kid.
Darth Maul.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Was it really Ray Park?
No, he looked like Darth Maul.
Okay.
That's all I
But
can say.
Patrick Wilson, he's the father of this kid, and
Poor Patrick.
he has to go and get his kid out of this realm that this creature has taken. Now that he's back in this movie, everybody's fine, but they're still kind of seeing things, and then everybody's starting to realize, wait a minute, it's not so much that there are ghosts following us, but Daddy brought back something bad.
Still happening.
What is?
I heard the piano playing by itself downstairs, and I found Callie on the floor of her room by her crib.
Well, maybe she climbed out of her crib. Has she ever done that before?
What? What is is wrong with you?
Renee, I just want us to move on from this. That's all. I want us to be a normal family again.
There is nothing normal about this, okay? These things are still here. Okay. Elise is dead. No one's talking about it. Someone murdered her.
Then let's talk about it. You think I did it?
No. No.
Good.
I don't.
Good, because I know what happened. I went into that place to get our son back, and something evil followed me and killed Elise.
And he's got a ghost inside of him, and at that point, it turns to The Shining.
Well, yeah, I mean, and certainly the first film borrowed to a certain degree, and a large degree from Poltergeist, whereas this one borrows for a large degree from The Shining. No question. Both of which, hey, they say if you're going to steal from good stuff.
No.
But
no, who says that?
They do
Steal from something I don't give a shit about.
But that being said, it's not so much so that it dominates the film. It's just an aspect of the film that you can't miss. It's like, wow, that reminds me of The Shining. I mean, even so far as the sequence where he's bashing through a door to get to the girl and her kids, you're like, okay, that was from The Shining right there. Can't miss that. But that being said, there's so much other stuff going on in this film. It's weird because I brought my girlfriend with me and she's like, I don't have to have seen the original, right? It's like, oh, probably not. It's like a horror movie. I doubt it. And afterwards, like, I'm sorry. You really should have seen the original.
Well, because okay, I didn't see the movie, but I from the original, I mean, that ending was such a bigger, it seemed like it was taking another big turn where I was curious, like, okay, if they do a sequel, are they gonna move on to a different family, or is it gonna be about the same guy? Because at the end of that first movie, so much does happen. I'm like, how is this guy? Because when I see the trailers, I'm like, how's this guy hanging out with his family again? Because something happened at the end of that with this movie, it doesn't seem to make too much sense unless they explain what really went on at the end of the first Insidious movie.
And I will say, the thing I enjoyed the most about Insidious 2 is the way that it dovetails right back into the first one in a way that, I mean, it's not a non-linear film, but it is in about like halfway through the middle act in a thing that they do. I don't want to give away too much, but basically a lot of stuff that happens, the events of the second film end up explaining why a lot of stuff happened in the first film, which is really interesting. And in fact, even in this film itself, there's a lot of circular stuff. There's scenes early on that you don't really realize there's anything weird about until much later in the film. You're like, oh, or even one of the characters at one point remarks, so that's what that was all about.
Okay.
And yeah, it's funny because this is by James Wan, who also made the first 3 Saw movies, I guess it was, he was in charge of. And you remember how the Saw films did the thing? It started very simplistically enough. It was a very straightforward thing, but then each movie got more and more complicated until by the time you get to the 5th or 6th movie, you're like, I don't have a fucking clue what's going on.
I want to say he only did one film though.
I think he just directed the first, and then he oversaw and wrote the second.
But I know he directed the first Insidious movie, and he also did The Conjuring, that movie felt like it could have been a sequel to Insidious in a way, at least as far as dealing with the supernatural in a family stuck in a house.
Well, and that being said, The Conjuring tried to bring it a little bit more down to earth, whereas Insidious was very I mean, Insidious is akin to going through a haunted house, pretty much. There's a bunch of shit jumping out at you. You're there to have fun. The movie's almost winking at you, like, wasn't that scary? And if you're into that, that's cool. I mean, there's strobe lights, there's dry ice fog, there's everything you want from a haunted house, pretty much. It just depends on whether or not that's your thing. And unlike previous ghost movies in the past, both these films, instead of the long, just interminable paranormal activity buildup where you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, will something happen? This one right from the beginning, all 3 of these movies right from the beginning is like stuff. In fact, I'm not even sure there was a scene in Insidious 2 that wasn't by the end of the scene, something happened with a ghost doing some shit. I don't remember a scene in the film that was just people having breakfast or something.
Okay. I mean, I'm just letting you get your piece out there because
I'm just saying I appreciate that for what it's worth. And yeah, this is campy. Yeah, there's incredibly wooden acting in it at points. Oh my God, some of these people are just fucking terrible. Well, later Saw movie level terrible.
It's Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne.
Yeah, okay. I mean, they're
your 2 big stars.
They're the 2 biggest stars in there, and that's my thing. Patrick Wilson is given a lot to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But Rose Byrne, she's just going through the movie. Getting tossed about the wall. You know what her biggest lines in the movie are? I mean, it's for me, man. When you say that this is a haunted house movie, it's a straight up haunted house movie. I'm talking about the cheesiest fucking parking lot garage haunted house that you've been to. And see, now I'm going to tell you something.
And I'm just saying, now I remember your review for the first one.
And this is
exactly what you said.
And this is what this is like. This is one of the things that I don't like about horror today. If you want to go in, now this is for me, this is for teenagers. This is for those teenagers who go in and they want to be scared.
Right.
You know, for us, grown ass men sitting in here, we've seen things that just pop out of nowhere.
Scare me. You got to work for it.
I mean, there are things in here just a noise. The crowd that we were with, just a bunch of teenage girls. And anytime that there was a boom or somebody like jumped out of somebody like, oh shit, no, god damn it all. Fuck, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. Where I shit on myself just now. And I'm just sitting up there and I'm like, this is nothing but half the movie where something passes by in the background. They step on a doll. They say, mama, you know. I'm like, you know, I tell you what, I did not like Darth Maul's gay-ass balding brother in that last movie. I just thought like, man, that dude's not scary. You know, he don't even know how to put his lipstick on right. Old drag queen-ass ghost. But I tell you what, I do miss that because that was kind of the scariest image in that movie. Now here, the ghosts that you see are mostly people with white makeup on, pointing at the screen going, yeah. And I'm like,
so it's like an old school.
Yeah, I'm talking about, and to me, now I'm just saying, for me, that's not scary. When you have a ghost that looks like a person, I mean, I can't even see through them, you know, I mean, make them kind of transparent or something, but I mean, I'm looking at a person in an old dress with some bad white makeup on, some shit they bought at H-E-B during Halloween. And I'm just like, this is not scaring me. Maybe if I was 15 and had a vagina, I might be scared of this, but I'm not. But I tell you something though, it's funny because.
What are you saying? I'm 15 and have a vagina?
Was that you screaming behind me? No. Because if it was, you might want to go back and check and see if your dick is still in the
See, that's the mistake.
Drop that shit.
That's the mistake you make. I was the one laughing there, having a great time in a movie that was just plain fun.
Well, you know what? That's what I'm going to say, man. Now, I don't hate this as much as I did the last movie. I think there are a lot of people who are going to see this and they're going to say that this is worse than the last film. And I can see why, because it is a lot more going on. They cram a lot of unnecessary story in there. I mean, stuff that I saw the first movie and there are things in here I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this has to do with anything. But I did laugh at this a lot more when they intentionally wanted me to laugh. They had two paranormal investigators in the last film. I can't remember the actors' names, but they were the comedy relief. Sure. I thought it was awkward comedy relief. But in this movie, they actually made me laugh. I thought this movie's so bad to me that I really like these guys. They seem the most human thing in there, and the guys who seem like they have something to do. And the other thing that I didn't like, the trade-off on the thing that I hated, is that, again, a lot of that dark imagery that I thought worked in the last movie, that was not here at all. All the scary imagery in this was some of the most schlocky, goofy, spook house stuff I've ever seen.
That's what kind of annoyed me watching the trailer, just realizing that they were doing an Insidious 2. I'm like, okay, as much as I like that first one, the second one seems almost unnecessary. I mean, because that seemed like a complete story let alone, but I kind of could tell where they would eventually take that second movie, which is what I saw in the trailer, which is a bunch of ghosts looking around. Because in that trailer, they have so many different looking ghosts, looking like they're attending an Addams Family reunion get together. Where I was like, oh man, I hope the movie isn't like the last 15 minutes or so of the last film, where it's just a bunch of people standing around looking at the camera, just standing there with makeup on, because that's not effective. There's a lot more things going on in that first movie that had that creepy tension and setup, yet with the trailer with this, it just seems like it was giving away all the ghost bits, and I'm like, already, I didn't like it.
But you gotta remember, much like in the first one, it was their theory is more is more. So it's like, yeah, you see the trailer for that, it could show you a ghost in every sequence, and you still will have seen 5% of the actual monsters, ghosts, scare bits in the movie because it's constant. It's pretty much the same thing. There's so much shit going on in this thing. There's so many sequences with stuff going on that, yeah, the trailer's not spoiling much for you, quite frankly. And the stuff you're talking about, like unnecessary plotting, that was the pleasure of this movie for me, where I was like, man, every other movie is just the same, of these ghost type films are the same type. Okay, family moves in the house, starts moving around. You find out what the ghost wants, call a psychic, comes up to a climax, the end, where most of it is just long periods of nothing happen and lots of periods of like, where you've got negative space that the audience is just staring into, waiting for something to move or not. That's not what these films are like at all. It's not what this one is like at all. And in fact, like I said, its plot gets so crazy and like weird and time twisty that I appreciated the hell out of it. I was like, say what you will about this movie. They actually took some chances on the story of trying to do something kind of out there for the concept. Now, yeah, a lot of stuff you're saying about like some of the technique stuff of like that we've seen a billion times before. I kept thinking, usually when a house is abandoned, they have moved all the shit out of it first, but that's never the case in these movies. They go into like a old hospital and all the shit is still there. Cobwebs. I was like, no, that shit wouldn't be there. Nobody does
See,
that.
that's what I hate, man. It's
but it's still, you're still missing the point. It's a spook house. It's a haunted house. I mean, there's even a tableau sequence where you watch the people with white face makeup doing a scene from the past and then turning to you going, I know you're there. Like, oh my God, it is going to a haunted house. Man. And it's fun. It's supposed to be corny and
I got the point. But to me, it's just kind of like, okay, you left junk in here just so you could push shit out the way and scare me. They go into a house where this guy died. I mean, this house must have been there for a while. And there's just nobody came to clear this shit out. Yeah. But it's still full of creepy dolls, creepy rocking chairs. Why? So the shit can just start moving and scare you when you get in there. I mean, I get it. It's just cheesy. That story that they had in there where you said that makes more out of a ghost story. It's just fucking goofy. The whole fucking movie is just goofy. Sometimes I'm laughing at it when I need to. Sometimes I'm just laughing at it thinking, you know what? Let me just go Six Flags at this point.
When you've had so many haunted house movies already thrusted upon you in this past like 2 years, seeing all those cliches, that's going to stick out more than anything. Yeah, I mean, I would be just like you, annoyed at, another crazy looking doll. A rocking chair. A creepy basement. Okay.
And it's funny too, man, because they got shit that they try to scare you with that just don't make any fucking sense. The baby has a stroller. One of those things that a baby
Not a stroller.
I know. And it's the loudest fucking stroller in the world.
That stroller is, why would anyone buy that stroller?
That shit is louder than a fire truck going down the street. And they do it to scare you.
It's like a baby rave.
They show, this shit lights up the whole room. I mean, and they just do it to just shock you. I mean, like Rose Byrne passes, just nudges it with her leg. And I said, and the room just turns into a fucking club. I mean, the ghost in there dancing and shit. It's like she's trying to cut that shit off. It's like, damn, man. I get it. I mean, look, maybe I don't. Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't get it.
You guys sound like two guys that just went through a haunted house and you paid like $20 for. You got one guy who always loves the shit out of it. Another guy who's like, man, that shit wasn't real. That was dumb. I hate that shit. I hate it all.
Why'd you talk me into going to that?
How dare you? But I love it. I love it. Because I get your complaints. Everything you're saying right now, I was completely thinking about when I saw that trailer. That's what kind of frustrated me because I'm like,
don't judge it by the trailer. Like I said, this is
not from the trailer.
How you felt about the first movie and how you felt.
Well, from what you're telling me right now, I mean, I'm like, the fears that I had about it, you're kind of letting me in on that, yet I get your point too, Cyrus.
I'm telling you, if you love the first one, you're going to at least really like this one, is what I'm thinking. Right. In fact, your boy Hi loved it. He was coming out all mad.
Your boy Hi.
He was coming out of me.
Hi, the Asian guy? Yeah.
He was coming out of me all mad because I didn't completely love it. I was like, well, I really liked it, but there were a couple parts that was like, no, there wasn't.
Corey,
there wasn't.
Don't you bring up that movie. Don't you bring up this fucking movie at all tonight when we're hanging out drinking with Hi.
You know what?
I don't want to hear that hour-long conversation.
I'm not, I'm not, because that's what they're going to do. He's going to try to go me in and talking about it.
That's how pissed he was.
And let me tell you what he did to me.
He punched you in the face.
He might have because he hurt me. He hurt me tonight. He really did. He came out and really did that whole thing of not high, but what'd you think about it? And I said, and knowing what I was going to say, and I said, I didn't like it. See? Told you he didn't like it. And then
told who?
I know that's what he was talking to. Okay. He's like, see, told you, fucking asshole. I mean, but then,
what a dick.
But then check it out. Then he got up in my face and came up to me, just stepped to me and just said, yeah, and you like The World's End too, didn't you?
Wait, did he not like The World's End?
And that's what I asked him. I said, did you not like it? No, I like this shit. I'm like, what?
Okay.
I was with him when we saw the World's End, and he was like, it was all right. It was.
And then, proceeded to follow me out with where he was like,
Where you going?
don't walk away from me.
You have High haunting you, and he ain't even dead.
He ain't even dead yet.
Yeah, you better hope he doesn't die before you do.
Shit, that was the real horror movie.
Because if he dies, he's going to be a ghost like that girl in the ring.
Yeah. Shit, me walking out the theater was Insidious Chapter 3 because he was just, hey, don't walk away from me. Hey, hey, and then, but when I was walking out, he didn't even think about Insidious anymore. He just kept nagging me about The World's End. He just kept, you know that movie's a failure, don't you? I'm like, it is? Yeah, it ain't doing that well here. Like, man, I'm just going to all right, man.
I love that. It's like, I would make money off of it either way.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, be careful of High because that motherfucker, every time you watch a movie now, that motherfucker's going to come crawling out of the screen. What'd you think?
Oh, and then when I was going to my car, his last words were in the most sarcastic tone, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck you.
Maybe I'll get you some good movies to watch for once, asshole.
Get you Insidious 2 when it comes out on DVD. So you can watch it and change your mind.
You're going to get the DVD combo pack when I'm done with you.
That'll be his death curse on you. Is any movie you watch in your head will always be Insidious too. I can't help it. It's everything I see. It's Insidious too.
Oh,
make it stop.
And then when I got in the car and shut the door, I heard, hey, and it was High sitting next to me. I'm like,
breathing down your
you don't
neck.
like this movie? I like it. All right. No, but I tell you what, man, my last words on this are, like I said, this is not a movie for me. I'm kind of jaded now when it comes to these horror movies. If you give me a certain quota of jump scares, once you reach past that point, you lost me. And that's what this movie has done. Oh, one more thing that I will compliment this movie on, casting. You have characters. The movie opens up in 1986, so you have certain characters. There was a woman named Lynn Shay, the actress. She plays Elise in this. She appears in this movie too. They have somebody play a young version of her, and Barbara Hershey comes in and plays Patrick Wilson's mother, and they have a young version of her in the movie. And the casting on that is pretty incredible because they actually
look just like them.
Yeah, they look just like young versions of them. The only thing, and you tell me if you notice
in
this,
more
man.
than one way, I want to fuck young Barbara Hershey.
Shit, I want to fuck young Elise, man.
How young we talking about here, guys?
It was almost like it was weird what they did because the woman that plays young Elise, because the Elise character, I mean, she looks to be like in her 60s now or something. Mm-hmm. And the character they got for her in the movie, she was a pretty young woman. Looks almost too young to be her as a young version. And the weird thing about it, and you tell me if you notice this, it was a younger woman, but it still used the older actress's voice. Did it seem like that to you?
I don't know, maybe.
They've done that before.
Watch it again.
Yeah.
See.
Movies have done that before. I want to say the first Superman movie, the young guy they had, Christopher Reeve dubbing.
You know, I will notice there was a thing early on it where I felt like I was watching. I was like, wow, did they dub these voices? I remember there was something where it looked like the words weren't synced up. I was like, that was weird. So maybe they did do that. I
just noticed that. I said that then while they did great casting for that, I said, man, that voice would not fit a woman of that age right there. I said, that's creepy within itself. You know what, man? In a way, I feel like, again, fans of the original are not going to like this movie as much as they like the first one. But I'm not that typical fan. So I'm going to come in and say, yeah, there's some things I thought they improved on, and I did like this better than the first one, but not by much. I'm giving this a really low rental.
The funny thing is, like, I actually agree with a lot of things you're saying, but the core thing I disagree with. I think fans of the original are not going to like this as much. True. And I don't think this is as good as the original, but I do think it is still a worthy sequel in the sense they really did try to do some new stuff with it while still bringing back the stuff people liked on the whole, except for Darth Maul from the first film. Yeah, I wanted to see Darth Maul one more time. Come on, man.
I'm with you on that. I mean, seriously, there's something about that dude I like. He straight up is a gay ass ghost. I mean, he's a drag queen ghost, man.
He's the funky Phantom. Promise Spirit of 1776 even. At your service.
And this one literally has a drag queen ghost in it, and they're not nearly as scary as Darth Maul, who's not really a drag queen ghost, just kind of looks like one.
He looks does that character have a name, a proper name? The Darth Maul.
I just call him Darth Maul.
He looks like, now if you look at him seriously, I got pictures of him. He looks like an old aging queen. He's balding, but he's got 2 earrings. He's got his lipstick smeared all over his face. He's kind of he's toned, but looks like a little too much tone for being a guy that age.
Old Asian transvestite who had a stroke.
Yeah, I did miss that.
So like David Geffen.
Well, that's the biggest problem here for me was really that the core ghosts were nowhere near as scary as the core ghosts in the previous film. There's just something about, like you were saying, with the just white face makeup. They just got a little too close on them at parts. The whole, like, you know, stern looking woman in white thing is so overplayed in these movies already. And I was like, really? That's what you're going to go with here? But the plot as it is does pleasantly twist around. There was more than enough fun scares in it and creative stuff going on that I still had a pretty damn good time in this overall. I really hope that if they do an Insidious 3, they move on from this family. I mean, there's a stinger, not after credits, so you don't have to wait for that, but there's a stinger, you know, after the main story is over that's like, and now a new family. Then I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to do another one, let's see that story, because quite frankly, Patrick Wilson needs to go do something else.
Wouldn't that story be called The Conjuring?
Yeah, right?
Really?
I swear, Patrick Wilson, he's like the American Sean Bean. Like, just things never work out for him.
No, they don't. Just, always something bad happens. But I still like this enough to give it a low matinee.
Low matinee.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you, co-host? Oh, wait. You didn't.
Yeah, you didn't see it.
I don't know if I want to see it now.
You want to see it.
Yeah, listening to these reviews, I'm like, you're not really giving me any reason to go.
I'm going to tell High.
Pay money.
Co-host.
Shit, I'm going to tell High.
Tell you what.
Don't worry about High, Leon.
I'll just take you to the abandoned school down the street. We'll just hang out in there.
You know what? I'll just wait for another month just to go to a haunted house.
Every now and then I'll throw a chair at you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, don't worry.
Hey, you can have it in the best 3D you've ever seen.
You know what? Maybe I will show up at the bar tonight. I mean, that'll be close to a haunted house more than anything.
Get out of my head! There's someone standing in front of you. He's talking to you.
What's he saying?
He's got your baby. 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 He's got your baby.
He's got your baby.